Shvat, the month of Shvat. According to the Hebrew calendar, the month of Shvat is the 11th month from the month of Nisan. The month of Adar, which is the month of Purim, is the last month, and then we start again, the month of Passover, the month of Nisan. And therefore, the 11th month, we've just entered the 11th month. This month is a very powerful month, a very potent month, a month filled with blessings. 11, we know from Kabbalah that there are 10 levels, 10 sefirot. 11 refers to the crown. It refers to the level which is overlaps, is above the 10th level. Why is it so? Because the month of Shvat, and actually today, Rosh Chodesh Shvat, we just started a period of the next 36, 37 days till the death of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is on the 7th of Adar of next month, in which Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, repeats the whole Torah. The first 4 books of the Torah were said by God through Moshe. The 5th book is Mishneh Torah. It is the repetition, the review of everything that happened in the whole Torah. This Mishneh Torah is a very special book, but at the same time it was only said in this period of time. This is the time where the Torah was translated in 70 languages in order that the Kedusha, the holiness of Torah, should not only be within the realm of Hebrew, within the language of Hebrew, but in any given language you will study the Torah will keep its holiness and permeate physicality. And especially when we understand language, and there's certain affinities a person has to a language with his mother tongue over another language which he did not grow up with. There's a certain sense of humor. There's certain nuances in a mother tongue that there aren't in another language. And many times a person might say, I cannot feel the nuances. God says, in your nuances, in your place, I will give you the possibility to feel Torah in its Kedusha, in its holiness. What is Mishneh Torah? Mishneh Torah, Sefer Devarim, the last book of the Torah, the 5th one. It's true, it's from God, but it's from God in a different way. The first 4 books, Moshe Rabbeinu was a channel. The 5th book, Moshe Rabbeinu was a channel. But there are 2 types of channels. There is what we call Derech Ma'avar, and there is what we call Derech Hitlapshut. There is the passageway type of channel, and then there is the type of channel which is through absorption. What do I mean? During the first 4 books of the Torah, Shechina medaberet mitoch grono shel Moshe. Moshe, just like all the prophets, as Maimonides explains, loses himself, and God speaks through Moshe. There's no absorption in the human psyche and the human emotion in the human person of that Torah. In the 5th book, on the other hand, Moshe Rabbeinu absorbs the Torah. It becomes a part of him. And then he speaks it. It's that level of synergy, just like the 11th month of the 11th month. It's not the 10 levels which are within the order of the world, but rather to be able to connect the above infinity, the infinity which is able to permeate matter. And that bonding of the both bring about a 3rd level of Kedusha, a higher level of sanctity and holiness. This is the month of Shvat. The month of Shvat is represented by the letter Tzadik. Tzadi in Kabbalah, Tzadi means to be trapped. Tzad, to hunt. There are the sparks of godliness which are in the food and in the world, everywhere, hidden within physical matter. This is the month where we celebrate. We celebrate the liberation of these sparks. And that's why it's very interesting that during this month we celebrate Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of Shvat, which is the Chag HaIlanot, Rosh Hashanah LaIlanot, the Rosh Hashanah for trees. Which really doesn't make sense. Because only 2 months later do we say Birkat HaIlanot. We bless God for the fruition, for the blossoming of the trees. So why are we celebrating Rosh Hashanah for the trees 2 months before? Might as well celebrate at the moment of the blossoming. But the truth is, there is a tremendous lesson here. That whatever the tree needs in order to be able to blossom is there on the 15th of Shvat. And therefore our celebration of the trees is not on what we see, but rather the potential that's about to come. I'm already celebrating. Just like that spark which has been hidden and I know is going to be revealed. So now I'm already rejoicing with the spark of godliness that's going to be revealed. This is the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the one. The tzaddik is the one that is able to appreciate even what is caught up, even what is imprisoned. He's able to appreciate and not get stuck with what's physical, what he sees with his physical eyes, but rather sees that potential. We will talk about this later when we speak on Tu B'Shvat. The month of Shvat, if you look at the numerical value of the month of Shvat, first of all, the word Shvat, you could say a makel, a stick, a staff. The month of Shvat means as well a staff. It's a different type of a stick. It's a softer stick. Or it could be the staff of the king, the royal staff. This is a month in which the energy of the month itself tells man, you are able to elevate yourself above your nature. You're able to sprout forth. You're able to reveal what's hidden. There is blessing in this month. And that's why it's not by accident Shvat is the acronym for the word Shmiyat Besorot Tovot, the hearing of good news. When you hear good news, it's not like when you see good news. When you see good news, it's already tangible, it's already something that's practical that you can pop with your own hands. Shmiyat Besorot Tovot is the mere hearing of the news. I already know it's true. I'm able to live the experience. I'm able to live that reality as if I was already seeing it. That is the power of the month of Shvat. Besides that, the month of Shvat, Shin Bet Tet. Shin. Shin Bet Tet stands for what we say in the famed prayer of Ana Bechoach, the prayer of Rabbi Yehuda ben Akana, Shamerem Barechem Taharem. The first letter, Shamerem, keep them, protect them. Barechem, bless them. Taharem, purify them, illuminate them. One might ask a question. When we hear the blessing of the Kohanim, the blessing of the priest on during the holidays or on Shabbat or daily, if you pray in a Sephardic synagogue, the Kohen blesses us and says, Yevarechecha Adonai veishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. And Rashi right away explains the blessing. Yevarechecha. What is blessing? Blessing is multiplicity. Blessing is to have much children, to have abundance. Because we know the letter Aleph in Hebrew is spelled with 3 letters. If you spell out the letter Aleph, Aleph, Lamed, Pe. Aleph, which is A1, Lamed, which is 30, Pe, which is 80, that's 111. 111 represents the letter Aleph. If you double it, it goes to 222. What is 222? Bet Resh Chaf, which is Barech, which is Beracha, blessing. And now we can understand a little. Why does the Torah start with a bet? Our sages teach us the Torah starts with a bet because bet is beracha, is blessing. Aleph is arur, is cursed. What do you mean? Don't the 10 commandments start with the letter Aleph? Well, it depends when you're talking. If you talk about spiritual matters, you start with an Aleph and you end with an Aleph. There's only one. There cannot be many. There's only one God. But when you talk about material matters, the blessing comes in doubles. When there's multiplicity, bracha, barech. And that's why the word bechor in Hebrew, which is the firstborn son, as well is the same letters as blessing, because he gets a double portion from his father after the passing. God forbid. So Yevarechecha, God will bless you, meaning you will have abundance. But it's not enough. Veishmerecha, God should protect you. God should protect you, should protect your blessings. Why? Because when there is abundance, there are people which want their portion in your abundance. I don't understand. You have money. You have success. Give me a little of it. What are you talking about? You didn't work for it. I toiled for it. I went through the toughest moments in order to be able to get to where I am today. What did you do? But I want a piece of it. So the Kohanim bless us that others will not take your blessings, meaning the negative forces will not have any type of grasp on the blessing that was just sent to you. Here during the month of Shvat, we have reversed the order. We've said first Shamerem, first give us the protection, then give us the blessing. Why? You know, Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, our forefather, before his passing, he criticizes the Jewish people. He criticizes his son Shimon and Levi for their anger, for their swiftness in doing things in a hasty way. It's a little difficult to depart from your children with a criticism. Moshe Rabbeinu, in the book he started rewriting now, the 5th book of the Torah, starts with a whole criticism of the Jewish people in a way of that he alludes to it, not in a direct hit. Why? Because I want you to have the blessing. And if you have a leak and you're getting a house and there's a leak in the roof and the leak is small, it would not be a blessing for you to find yourself with a house, mold in the whole house, and a whole roof that just collapses on your head. So I'm going to give you the blessing, but before I give you the blessing, I'm going to tell you, you know what? You have a leak in this corner, and take care of that leak ASAP. My son Shimon Levi, my children Israel, the people of Israel, I'm going to tell you what is a character trait that is no good. What is the character trait that could make you lose it all in one instant, in one moment? Once I've given you that tool, I've given you protection, then I can give you the beracha. Take care of the leaks. Then I'm going to give you and give you blessing like there's no tomorrow. That's what it says at the end. Each one got his blessing, and the blessing of the other as well. His particular blessing is. So here we see that God says, Shamerem, I want you to have shmirah. I want you to keep yourself. How are you going to keep yourself? This is the month of Shvat. This is a month where we're not satisfied with the first 4 books of the Torah. We need to review the books of the Torah. You want protection? Whatever you've done till now, you need to do it again. You need to repeat the action. You need to make it not a goal in your life, but a ritual where this becomes a habit that's ingrained in you. One day, a great Chassid was approached by his student. This great Chassid was sick, unfortunately, and everything that he ate, his stomach couldn't handle. The student asked him, "Was machst du?" in Yiddish means, "How are you doing?" And he said, "Halvai, I wish I was doing as well. Be ruchniut, Azoi vi begashmius. I wish I was doing as well spiritually as I am doing physically. The student looked at him and said, what are you talking about, Rabbi? You mean the opposite. You want to be doing physically as well as you're doing spiritually. Spiritually, you studied so much Torah. You've taught so much Torah. You've inspired so many people. You've prayed for hours. Physically, you take a piece of apple, you can't even swallow it. Your body throws it up. What are you talking about? And the rabbi answered, yes, that's exactly what I meant. I want to be doing spiritually as well as physically. Know, my son, that when I take that piece of apple and I throw it up, for sure there's one drop of that apple which my body is going to absorb. It's going to become a part of my flesh and blood. I don't know, he said, if all the years of study and prayer and everything I did have become a part of me, like that drop of apple has become a part of my flesh and blood. Brutally honest. This is the month of review. It's not by accident that Mishneh Torah is not only Moshe Rabbeinu being a channel, but actually absorbing the Torah, giving us the possibility during this month to increase in the study of Torah and to absorb it. That you should become one with the Torah, and especially the study of Torah, which is the highest level of unity and fusion you can have with God. When you study, you grasp knowledge. But when you study, knowledge grasps you. Usually the one grasping cannot be the graspee. But here, the grasper and the graspee, if these words exist, and if they won't, I just invented them. And you could put them on Wikipedia. At that moment, you are grasped, and you grasp, you become completely in fusion with God. This is the month. This is the month of absorption. It's not by accident. That once you absorb it, once it becomes yours, you own it. At that moment, vechazakta vehayita leish, you become a man. Shvat Shin, numerical value 300. Bet, numerical value 2. Tet, numerical value 9. You add it up, 311. Numerical value of the word Ish. There are 4 types of titles when the Torah refers to man. There is Adam, the intellectual man. There is Ish, the emotional man. There is Enosh, the weak, and Gever, the strong man. The month of Adar, I want to be able to reach above my head, above the 10. I want to go to the 11. You have to know, it's very interesting. Chassidut explains that man naturally moach shalit al halev. The mind is able to rule over matter, rule over the heart. But Chassidut explained this is only the superficial part of the heart. The internal part of the heart, Reuta de Liba, the will of the heart reaches above the mind. The month of Shvat is the month where when you absorb, when you repeat, as the repetition is the mother of skill. The more you repeat, the more it becomes yours, and the more suddenly you start feeling, you start having an emotional connection. What happens when you have an emotional connection? It's yours. It's your experience. It's no more in the books. It's absorbed. Then you have shamrem. You are kept. You are protected. Once you are protected with such a Torah, then barechem, the blessing that comes is a real blessing. Is a blessing of true success and true connection, a true blessing. Not some superficial blessing that, I did not toil and work in my land, and I just sowed without going in deep. I went deep, and then I absorbed. I became a true vessel. You know, there's a verse that says, Eine chol elecha yisaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito. The eyes of all turn longing in a longing way to you. And you got noten lahem et ochlam. You give them their sustenance, their food. Not in their time, be'ito, in his time, in God's time. Right after we read this verse from the Psalms, some people have the custom to open their hands and say the verse of Parnassah. Poteach et yadecha, open your hand and satiate everybody according to the will. Every living thing according to the will. There's a holy name there. Pe, Aleph, Yud, Poteach et yadecha, called Pai. That's the verse of Parnassah. Pai or Pei. The verse of Parnassah. How do you have the Parnassah, says Admur HaZaken? Through the fact that you turn your eyes to God. And you know that's the only address. It's clear to you. At that moment, unoten lachem ochlam, he gives you the food, the sustenance, meaning he makes you into a vessel. To make me into a vessel to receive that food. So you say, Poteach et yadecha, open your hands and dig deep into me and make that space so I should be able to receive and become a recipient. Basically what we're saying. If you look in Hebrew, it's very interesting. It makes no sense, especially for Americans and those who don't speak Hebrew. We address the feminine with a masculine. We address the masculine with a feminine. Let me explain to you. In Hebrew, in general, whatever is feminine has the letter Hey at the end. Has the letter Hey. I'm going to give you an example of this. An example of this. I'm going to give you an example. Somebody wants to give me an example of this. Okay, but not this. So we have Bachur in Hebrew means a young man. You add the letter Hey, it's Bachura, a young woman. So you see here the letter Hey. Yeah. The letter Hey has transformed a masculine into feminine. But when you count, it's the opposite way. You say, for example, 3 young men. The masculine of 3 should be shalosh. And the feminine, since we said the hey is feminine, should be shlosha. But it's the opposite. Shlosha, which has a hey, the feminine component, is masculine. And shalosh, which doesn't have the hey, is feminine. Now, that might be a little complicated for most of you. Let me give you a simple thing. How do you say you to a man? How do you say you to a woman? To a man, we said the hey represents the woman, yes or no? So we say to a woman at, which is aleph and tav. You, feminine. To a man, we say at, and we add the letter hey, which is feminine, and we say ata. Doesn't make sense. Why does the man have the letter hey? Admur HaZaken, the Alter Rebbe, explains something unbelievable. He says because the hey is the feminine, it's the concept of the recipient. The man is the one that has the letter hey because he has the capacity to make the woman into a recipient. He marries her and makes him the wife, and now the recipient. Before him, she cannot be a recipient. She can't be a receiver. She doesn't have who to receive from. And therefore, the man has inherited that hey because he has to give it. And that's what we're saying to God. We turn our eyes to you, and you give us sustenance, but you open your hands, make us into the recipient that's going to receive. Poteach et yadecha. Make that space within me, make me the recipient to receive. The month of Shvat is the month at the same time where through that effort of absorption we start becoming a recipient. Shamerem. We make sure that the recipient is whole, is complete, is shalem, it's complete. There's no leaks. We make sure to fix ourselves. Fix our character traits, serve Hashem with emotion, make it relevant to us, make me a recipient, I want to be a recipient to you. And then beracha, Hashem pours the blessing. Once He pours the blessing, you're a recipient, you have the blessing. Taharem, the process is one that purifies and illuminates your whole life. This is the energy of this month, to become a ish, to become that person which serves with the heart, which absorbs and makes sure the blessing stays with him, sticks with him. So my dear friend, in this month of Shvat, I would like to wish every single one of us this month of Shvat, which represents royalty, that we should attain that level of royalty. As we see the whole world is being transformed in an incredible way. A world where suddenly all the negative factions are starting to show their true face and recognize they're wrong. A world where people are turning their eyes to Jerusalem. A world where even the most orthodox extremists call out to their Jewish groups and say, accept your fellow Jew the way he is, embrace him. Lo matzah kadosh baruch hu kli hamachzik bracha yoter me'ashalom. God did not find a vessel greater to receive blessing than peace.
And this is the blessing. When we have peace, when we seek peace, not only we say we run after peace, but we actually run after peace. We run to make shalom between people. We understand the other. We favor the other. And we are ready to give up of our own and not get involved in disputes and negativity. When we seek peace, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blesses us, and He blesses us in a way that the blessing is a complete one. So we pray that Be'ezrat Hashem, in this month of Shvat, this month of the Tzaddik, may the great Tzaddik, the great Tzaddikim, Be'ezrat Hashem, reveal themselves, and may we reveal the Tzaddik inside of us, and understand that inside of us there is trapped a tremendous potential. And through our study of Torah, and our connection to God, and our absorption, Be'ezrat Hashem, may we be blessed with the coming and revelation of Mashiach. Amen. Thank you.